In just 150 days, this man managed to bring life back to a farm that had been abandoned for 10 years. The place was dead in every sense of the word, and he transformed it into a thriving paradise without any funding or modern equipment. These young people, tired of city life and its constant noise, decided to live in the wilderness. After extensive searching, they found this farm and chose to work on it themselves until they restored it to its former glory, and even better, all with their own hands and very simple tools. They are going to live a truly primitive life in the fullest sense of the word. Let's take a look together at the multitude of challenges they will face and see how they manage to overcome them. This farm was completely ruined, overrun with weeds and wild plants, and even the existing wood was rotten and decayed, which was natural, considering the property had been abandoned for more than 10 years. But they immediately started removing all of it by hand. They did this to start fresh, cleaning and preserving the main wood used to build the original cabin, which was sturdy and intact, so they left it as it was. All the other wood, however, was rotten and had to be removed entirely. The forest nearby was full of trees. After careful searching, they found the palm trees they needed. They cut the oldest fronds, which were long, durable, and very useful, and brought them here, placing them in front of their house. Then they went back to look for the rest of the materials they needed. Among them was bamboo. They cut many bamboo stalks to build and complete their cabin. After gathering a large number of stalks, they trimmed off the excess to prepare them for construction. They aligned the beams manually, using a very simple hand tool. The bamboo stalks were the main framework that would support the house they were building. One of them climbed onto the main structure, while the other handed him the stalks, and they secured them firmly into the frame of the house. They used bamboo because it is lightweight and easy to work with, requiring no heavy machinery or cranes to lift it onto the roof. Despite its light weight, bamboo is extremely strong and doesn't break easily, and it is abundant everywhere in the area, which makes construction inexpensive. The weather didn't cooperate, but they didn't stop working and kept going until the job was done. They needed to build a ladder to help them go up and down and make their work easier, so they made it out of bamboo stalks. Bamboo is flexible, easy to shape, and simple to tie together, which made it perfect for the task. They constructed a very tall ladder. Since the roof wasn't finished yet, they brought more bamboo stalks and adjusted them as needed. They cut bamboo stalks and used them as cords to tie each stalk onto the roof. They built the roof in an intersecting square pattern to strengthen it and keep it stable. These squares also provided spots to attach the palm leaves that would cover the roof. There was a lot of leftover bamboo, so they cut all the excess with a saw. They then began lifting the palm leaves that would cover the entire roof. These leaves were wide and interwoven, which prevented sunlight from entering, and when it rained, the water would run off without soaking the roof. The design also allowed air to circulate freely, ventilating the area. On top of all that, the leaves were lightweight and easy to install. Once they finished covering the roof, the appearance of the leaves wasn't perfect, so they trimmed all the excess to make it even. The leftover leaves were set aside for later use. After finishing the roof, it was time for the walls, which they also built using bamboo stalks. They cut the stalks precisely to match the length of the house, placing them side by side vertically. Each stalk was secured with a horizontal bamboo piece tied in knots. This horizontal piece held all the vertical stalks together, making the entire wall one solid structure. Although bamboo is strong, it can shift on its own, so the central horizontal piece helped distribute pressure, prevented shaking, and kept everything stable against wind or movement. It also gave the walls a neat and organized appearance. While building the walls, they didn't forget to include the windows to allow airflow and ventilate the house. After finishing the walls, it was time to build the gate, which they also made from bamboo stalks. They secured it firmly into the ground to withstand rain and wind and added a very simple lock. The gate was designed with two panels, matching the style of the house. Next to the gate, they built an additional annex attached to the main house. The first step was to construct its pillars and secure them firmly. They then covered its roof with palm leaves. The structure was sturdy, and its shape was both strong and visually appealing. But they didn't stop there. They took more bamboo stalks, cut them, and built the walls of the annex by interlocking the stalks together. To complete the annex, they made a door using the same method, but this time it was a sliding door with very simple means. The windows were designed to open from the top in a unique and practical way. They also wanted to make a heater that could double as a light source at night. First, they marked its place in the house and built it in the shape of a large square. Then, they collected some clay from the farm and spread it over the square, smoothing it carefully. After that, they placed the wood on top and set it on fire. The clay was used first to secure the wood in place, and because it doesn't catch fire, it acted as a safety barrier, an essential precaution, especially in structures made of bamboo. They needed a table to place their belongings on, and they built one, but this one was a bit different from usual tables. Normally, tables sit on the ground, but theirs was suspended next to the farm over a natural water channel that had been blocked, making the farm unable to benefit from it. The first step was to clean it and remove everything that was obstructing the water from reaching them. They also uncovered an old opening that had been made previously, allowing water to flow through. Inside the water channel, they built a small barrier with stones to guide the water into a narrower path. But they weren't planning to use this water just for irrigation. They had other plans in mind, using very simple tools and a few wires. They ran the wires up a tall tree, secured them firmly, and connected them to the house. They installed a simple switch panel and placed the metal piece they had into the water, adjusting the wires carefully. This allowed them to generate electricity from the water and channel it through the wires all the way to the house. The lamp they installed was able to illuminate the area successfully. Next, they wanted to build a very large fence surrounding the entire house. They took long bamboo stalks, cut them into strips, and interlocked them tightly, securing them firmly together until they had constructed the massive fence you see in front of you. The land around them was full of grass, so it had to be cleared. All the grass needed to be removed so they could plant whatever crops they wanted. They also needed a proper irrigation system because the land they were going to cultivate was far from the water channel next to the farm. First, they brought a long, thick hose to connect the water channel to the field. Near the water channel, they brought a tank and drilled a hole at the bottom to insert one end of the hose. On the other side, they placed a thick bamboo stalk at the waterfall where the water flowed, securing it with additional bamboo pieces. This setup directed the water from the waterfall into the tank and through the hose. To control the water flow, they installed a valve in the hose. The water now reached the house they had built. They also brought a water storage tank, cleaned it thoroughly, and then filled it completely. After completing the irrigation system, they continued preparing the land, which meant turning over the soil to let air in and break it up properly. This also helped eliminate old weeds. Then they fenced the field, applied fertilizer, and carefully distributed and planted the seeds. They made sure to press the seeds into the soil firmly. Next, they divided the area in front of the house, creating walking paths and marking the spaces for different uses. They also buried the water hose underground to protect it from sunlight and any other potential damage. In the land in front of the house, they collected large stones and arranged them in a circular shape. They filled the circle with soil and planted seedlings on top. They did the same for another section of the field, distributing all the seeds evenly. Afterward, they watered all the plants using the irrigation system. On another side, they dug a large hole and filled it with water using the hose, distributing seeds within this pit as well. The water covered more than half of it. At the entrance to the area, they built a small structure using bamboo stalks, creating pillars, a roof, and a gate. This structure served as the entrance to their farm. The day was ending, but they were still hard at work, interlocking bamboo stalks to complete the entrance to the farm. They didn't stop at the simple gate. They built sturdy pillars from bamboo, cut the stalks to size, interlocked them, and constructed a strong roof for the entrance. Next, by the side of the house, they brought 4 large, thick bamboo stalks and secured them firmly into the ground. Then they took more bamboo stalks of the same size and cut them into strips. The bamboo they used was typically 3 to 5 years old. Anything younger would be too soft and unusable, and anything older would be too dry and brittle. They carefully selected the stalks to ensure quality. After cutting them into strips, they began interlocking them to build walls. They secured the bamboo strips into the pillars they had built, creating the framework for the farm's kitchen. Inside the kitchen, they made a table and placed their items on it. Meanwhile, they continued planting and watering the crops that needed moisture. Then they went back to collect more bamboo stalks, this time very long ones, and fixed them in front of the house. They added more bamboo horizontally on top, forming the roof beams. They cut additional bamboo into strips, interlocked them carefully, and raised them onto the pillars. After that, they hung the climbing vegetables on the structure. These plants began growing visibly while being regularly watered, along with the seedlings they had previously planted near the heater. The pathway didn't look very good at first, but he decided to revive it. He brought small stones from the water channel and transported them all here, cutting them to fit the entire walkway. He wanted to create a solid path to walk comfortably on, so he selected very thick bamboo stalks, adjusted them carefully, and removed any excess. Then he split them down the middle to interlock them together. The first step was building the main framework of the bamboo structure. The stalks were strong, and he connected them tightly, securing them with nails. Once the pieces were unified, he placed them along the path. Afterward, he leveled the ground carefully and prepared to lay gravel meticulously, ensuring a high-quality finish. After finishing that, he placed a cushion on top of the structure, rested for a bit, and then returned to continue his work. He was going to use the water to create a chair, so he gathered bamboo stalks from various places and secured them firmly together. Then he took bamboo strips, attached them to the framework, trimmed the excess, and ended up with a very sturdy and ready chair. Next, he collected more stones, arranged them side by side, and built a short path, cleaning and sweeping the area underneath. The entire space transformed from a ruin into a beautiful area, and it was only going to get better. As the day ended and a new one began, the first thing he did was cover the crops. Then he brought long bamboo stalks, widened them into large openings, and secured them together with thinner bamboo pieces to complete the framework. He also placed additional stalks in the middle to create a bench. After that, he built a table and a bench as well, essentially creating a living room entirely out of bamboo. After painting the base, he completed the bench by constructing its frame and painting it too. This protected the bamboo from moisture and cracks, gave it a nice shine, made it look clean and new, and also prevented insects and pests from getting inside. He secured the bamboo strips to the base using wooden sticks and a hammer to ensure they didn't move or shake. Then he trimmed all the excess and moved the furniture inside the house. The result was extremely sturdy and visually impressive. In another part of the farm that we hadn't visited before, they brought very long tree branches and fixed them into the ground in a square formation. They added shorter branches, securing them to the longer ones, and then attached roof beams on top of all the short branches. Using additional wood branches, they reinforced the sides and the roof. All of this was constructed entirely with bamboo stalks. On top of the roof, they also built a railing around the long branches and added roof beams. Above that, they constructed a triangular frame out of wood, placing long bamboo stalks at the apex of the triangle. They cut off the excess with a saw and covered the beams with palm leaves, arranging them evenly across the surface. The triangular shape was wide and open, and with the palm leaves it looked stunning. Inside, on the first floor, they cut bamboo poles and used bamboo strips to roof the entire area. They also built a bridge connecting the two structures, which was very risky. To make it safer, they installed wooden railings and created a small barrier for the second light source, ensuring greater security while moving across the bridge. Underneath all of that, they set a controlled fire to clear out everything they wanted to get rid of. There were some unwanted plants, which they removed, and they also brought sugarcane stalks, cut them into pieces, and buried them in the soil. Next to them, they planted more seeds and watered them thoroughly. Then they took bamboo stalks and built a small fence along the line of seeds they had planted. He did the same for the other seedlings in the area. On the side, he dug a large pit and covered it with thick bamboo stalks, placing bamboo strips on top while leaving a small opening in the center uncovered. He then covered everything with soil except for the opening. Over the opening, he installed 4 pillars with roof beams on top, constructed a roof from bamboo stalks, and covered it with palm leaves. The walls were made from bamboo strips. This became the farm's bathroom. In another part of the farm, he brought very thick bamboo stalks, secured them firmly into the ground, and added roof beams, which he then covered with palm leaves. This structure was built as a shelter to raise animals. He also took bamboo stalks, widened them, and used them to fence off the entire area. Next, he worked on the area next to it, which was slightly lower than the rest of the farm. He managed the water flow to create a small pond. Then he returned to his animal shelter and brought ducks, placing them into the pond he had created. Since ducks are aquatic animals, they naturally feed on small organisms in the water, such as insects and algae. This keeps the pond clean without the need for filters or chemicals. Meanwhile, the crops he had planted grew fully and became ready for harvest, which he then began collecting. He also takes care of his ducks, providing them with places to rest, cleaning their feeders, and refilling them with fresh water. The ducks spend all their time in the pond, living naturally. Of course, the farm requires constant attention, and he is always looking after it, removing any unwanted plants and harvesting crops as soon as they are ready. Over time, the ducks grew, and he also brought rabbits to the same area. He built a ready-made shelter for the chicks, providing them with feeders filled with water and food, which he prepares himself. Every now and then he introduces a new type of animal, and the farm gradually expands. After continuous hard work day and night, the farm has transformed into a lively, thriving place where anyone would love to live, far from the abandoned ruin it once was. All of this happened because they persisted in following their vision. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment sharing what you liked most about this farm, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.